All I have in this world is my balls and my word, and I don't break them for no one. Do you understand?
Rightio legends, Chaos Chronicles, and we're back again with another video. And so today we're doing a reaction video. It seems like forever since we've done a reaction video. And so today's reaction video is from Fin Crime Files. Jump over there and give him a look and a follow. But this is on Reynold Glover, and the video is Reynold Glover, how he became Australia's baddest man. So if you haven't heard about Reynold Glover, you're about to hear about some crazy, crazy, crazy stuff. But before we get into it, guys, if you haven't already subscribed, jump down there, shoot me a subscription. That'd be absolutely appreciated. And if you hit that little bell icon, you'll never miss any of my clips again. Also, we do have paid memberships, guys. And yeah, so you get to see content before everyone else. You get members only content as well, and we've just given that a bit of a tweak up as well. So yeah, onwards and upwards. But all right, let's get into it. Reynold Glover, Australia's baddest man.
A name that has been shadowed in secrecy has finally been revealed after more than a decade of high-profile crimes and suppression orders. He has been dubbed by the media as Australia's baddest man. His name is Reynold Glover. His identity can finally be revealed after media and publishing company News Corp won a series of legal battles to overturn 4 suppression orders that has kept Glover's identity a secret for almost a decade.
So if you guys don't understand what a suppression order is, so if someone, for certain cases, high profile cases, they can apply to have their case suppressed so the media can't do stories on it. Because sometimes, here's the absolute truth, a lot of these people that can't afford good lawyers, it's always trial by media. The media know exactly what they do, they're experts at it, and so it's kind of like trial by media. They're found guilty by the people in the public because of what the media put out, and therefore people can ask to have a suppression order so every bit of their information to do with their case is suppressed for a certain amount of years. That's what he done, a suppression order.
Publication orders previously prevented it being revealed that Glover was behind a 2013 crime wave across New South Wales. This is the story of Australia's baddest man, Reynold Glover. Glover grew up in a poor section of Marrickville in Sydney's inner west in a single-parent household with his mother. Trouble came.
That's where Jeff Frennick was from, the Marrickville Moor. Pretty rough area of Sydney, as they say.
Early, and Glover spent time in Dulwich Hill's Edgware School for youth with emotional and behavioural problems. However, it was in 1999 that Glover, aged 12, found himself charged with murder during a home invasion where 56-year-old Ralph Terrence Mason was stabbed and beaten to death. Just quickly, if you're enjoying this video so far, please consider subscribing and liking this video. It really helps me out and helps the channel grow. Glover's
Jump over and shoot him a follow, guys. Does good work. Awesome guy from the UK. Also does a lot of good stuff on some of the UK's craziest crooks as well. So yeah, give him a look in.
Spent 176 days in custody awaiting trial until the murder charges were dropped due to lack of evidence. Glover pleaded guilty to robbery after the courts heard the teenagers went to Mason's house to rob him after hearing he was rich. Glover received a 2-year suspension order. This early introduction to crime set the foundations for.
So a suspension order, suspended sentence is, so you're actually given a sentence of 2 years. And so what happens is that sentence is suspended and you're allowed out into the public. But if you commit one crime, one tiny little crime like steal a Snickers bar or whatever, you are going to do that 2 years that was suspended. So, you know, it's generally, you've got to behave, generally, is the consensus.
Glover's life in the underworld. In 2005, Glover smashed his way through the front of a Bendigo bank in Radwick using a sledgehammer. 6 weeks later, Glover held up the Hunters Hill Hotel
Bendigo Bank
at gunpoint. He was jailed for both crimes. After being released from jail in 2008, Glover linked up with a gang of similar young men from rough sections of Sydney. From that point, police alleged Glover tore a path through Sydney, and the fallout tied up the city's court system for more than a decade.
And, that's generally what happens when one person who's into doing something meets up with another group of people that are into doing those kind of things. Because what I found when I was in my life of crime, that if I ever wanted to do something like that, finding people that were as ready and as willing as I was very, very hard. So you'll find when people like this do band together, they all know that they're all people that are really ready and willing to do whatever to get the job done, and so they usually go pretty hard, which is obviously what happened here.
In 2009, Sydney was hit by a wave of armed robberies on cash in transit vans where millions in cash was stolen. They all followed a similar pattern. Balaclava-clad gunmen armed with assault rifles and pistols, assisted by a getaway driver in a rotating fleet of stolen sports cars. Over 6 cash vans were hit by the gang, with an estimated total of $6 million in cash stolen.
Damn, 6 cash vans, $6 million cash. That's not bad for, 30 seconds work each time. And you can see why it's appealing to people. You know what I mean?
Stolen. In the early months of 2009, Glover and his crew were seemingly living the high life. Glover had moved into a luxury waterfront apartment in Sydney CBD with his girlfriend, who he had recently convinced to return to Australia from the US. However, little did Glover know, the police investigation into the recent cash-in-transit van robberies was about to blow wide open. In 2009, Meriton worker Wayne Gettis arrived at his job at a South Sydney block of apartments. On the ground in the car park, he spotted 4 paper dockets. All of them featured the Chubb logo. There were also 2 smaller pieces of laminated paper. The next day, Wayne Gettis saw an article in the Daily Telegraph about the $2.3 million stolen from the Lane Grove.
Damn, something so simple like that should have been burnt. Like, it's just common knowledge that all that kind of evidence, once it's ash, that's all it is. It's not evidence, it's ash.
Chubb base. The maintenance worker met with the police and handed them the cards and the docket. But what was the Chubb material doing at this apartment complex? The answer lay in a major Sydney drug dealer who can legally only be known as Mr. X. Mr. X, who sold cocaine and heroin by the kilogram, leased an apartment inside the complex and was living there. As well as living in the apartment, Mr. X had also convinced a number of Meriton staff into letting him use an empty apartment as a safe house to store drugs, guns, explosives, and bulletproof vests. The apartments were also being
That's pretty trusting to let people that you don't know use a. I'm tipping that he wouldn't have told him what it was for. He would have just said, like, listen, here's $2,000 a week if you let us use that room and make sure no one goes in there. I'd say that's what would happen, because I would say that criminals of this ilk and that like elite level would not be letting people that are not a part of the crew privy to their information. I can tell you that for sure.
used by the robbers after they had committed the holdups to count money that had been stolen and store weapons. The police were now zeroing in on the Meriton complex to uncover its link to the robberies. Another connection was that a silver Audi, which was used as a getaway car in one of the robberies, had been caught on the Meriton CCTV driving into the apartment complex's car park just after the holdup. Corrupt Meriton staff attempted to delete the CCTV footage. However, after this failed, they paid to have the entire hard drive used to store the footage replaced. When police started asking questions, the corrupt Meriton staff helped Mr. X clean up the apartment where cash canisters and guns had been stored. The guns were dropped.
Damn, they were pretty sophisticated, and I guess the cops wouldn't have had any clue at the start that the Meriton staff would be helping these kind of people. So, pretty brazen to trust like that, but it obviously worked.
The Merrickville property before the bags with the canisters were dumped in the Cooks River at Merrickville Golf Club. However, shortly after, people on their morning walks around the golf course spotted them and called the police. With police closing in, Mr. X took evasive action. With the help of one of the Meriton staff, Mr. X grabbed 1.2 kilos of heroin and a revolver from the cavity behind the fridge space. He also grabbed drugs from the dryer in the laundry and took the gear to an apartment on the floor upstairs. On July 30th, 2009, detectives arrived at the Meriton complex with a search warrant for Mr. X's unit. A mystery person had told them what was inside. It didn't take them long to enter the apartment and find Mr.
A mystery person. So obviously, someone that was privy to that information was snitching. More than likely one of the Meriton workers, I would say.
X's stash of drugs and guns. When Mr. X got the word his stash was found, he went on the run, and the police hunt for him went into full swing. The manhunt was quick and calculated. On August 11th, 2009, Mr. X was arrested and charged with large commercial drug supply and possessing firearms and explosives in relation to what the police found inside a Meriton apartment.
Rightio, guys. If you guys haven't already subscribed, jump down there, shoot me a subscription. It turns out still that somewhere between 50 to 60% of my viewers are not subscribed. Please, if you guys are loving my content, obviously you are because you're watching it, please just take this time out to shoot me a subscription. It doesn't cost anything. It's for free. All right, guys. And if you hit that bell icon, you'll never miss any of my videos again. Let's go.
Mr. X was looking at a lot of time and needed a way out. To save his own skin, Mr. X told officers he knew who committed the armed robberies and could help them solve the case. He began giving the police vital information about Reynold Glover and his crew, including where Glover lived. The police wasted no time, and at 6 a.m. on August 21st, 2009, they burst into Glover's waterfront apartment and found him in the bathroom. After searching the apartment, they uncovered a BMW car key that was linked to one of the robberies, a black balaclava, clothing, and a copy of the Sunday Telegraph that featured an article about one of the robberies. Reynold Glover and his crew were arrested and charged with armed robbery. For his cooperation, Mr. X was given a 60% discount on his jail sentence for the heroin, guns, and explosives found. He was
Damn. Cooperation, and he got 60% discount. Crazy. It's just like, yeah.
sentenced to a non-parole period of 3 years, 3 months, and a total sentence of 5 years, 3 months.
Just wow.
For Glover and his crew, after an extensive 97-day trial, he was found not guilty on October 25th, 2012. During this time, while on remand, Glover was moved to a supermax prison after stabbing a fellow inmate. Glover had also been using the jail phone, where all phone calls are recorded, to enlist 3 men to threaten Mr. X and convince him not to give evidence in the armed robbery trial. In March 2010, on Glover's instruction,
So, perverting the course of justice, tampering with witnesses, it's a very, very serious charge. And like, obviously he probably would have been using like code word to talk, but here's the thing: people don't understand that these collalators and these security people are paid to sit there and learn our languages. Like, everyone thinks if they speak, double Dutch or pig Latin and all that stuff, like halabao, alaba, yidaboo, dilaboo, dilabin, and they think that people don't know what that is. Balabat, dalaba, trilaboo, thilibiz. They all do. And yeah, I think that yeah, jail phones not the
the 3
smartest.
men demanded Mr. X meet them at a McDonald's. At the meeting, Mr. X was given 3 choices: recant his evidence, leave the country, or both. Mr. X told them he would flee Australia in 3 months and would be long gone by the time the armed robbery trial started in 2012. However, it was a lie. Instead, Mr. X told his police handler about the demands. As a result, police listened in on a call Mr. X had with Glover's cohorts, where the men passed on threats to Mr. X and his family. On April 7th,
Damn, like they must have known that. Like, seriously, like the guy's already snitched. There can't be any trust there. There just can't be any trust. Unfortunately, and this is why snitches meet their demise, because like there's just no trust.
2009, Mr. X asked one of Glover's minions to email the wording of what he should write to the police to recant his evidence. That night, the email was sent to Mr. X. It read, "I, Joe Blow, lied about Glover and the other 3 accused, doing 6 armed robberies, and I also said that I was counting money with Reynold Glover, which was a lie. I lied because I got caught with heroin and guns, so I blamed the above people because I knew they had been in trouble with the police before and the police would believe me. I have been to the jail before and I hate it in jail, and that's why I will say and do anything not to go to jail." Glover was also captured making a call.
Damn. Like, I just can't believe that. Like, surely things like that could have been passed, in person, not leaving any kind of paper trail. Yeah, I just don't know how they didn't know that. Like, number one rule of any crime is don't leave a paper trail.
On a prison phone telling one of his underlings to remind Mr. X that if he fails to comply that things will start happening. On April 13th, 2010, Mr. X told the men he would not be recanting his statement or leaving the country. Glover's response was to have a message communicated to Mr. X that the Assyrians have been contacted to harm a member of his family. On April 14th, 2010, Reynold and 3 others were charged with conspiracy to pervert the course of.
So Assyrians are people that live in Iraq but are not Muslim. So Assyrians, that's what I was told, and that's what I'm led to believe, that the Assyrians are still Iraq, people from Iraq, but they're just not from the Muslim faith.
Justice. After being found not guilty
And them guys have got a big name in Sydney.
of the robberies, Glover was released on a $700,000 bail on November 29th, 2012.
$700,000 bail. I actually can't believe, like, yeah, I just find like there's a lot of bungles in this, and the police making big bungles as well. Like, surely they would have known that, but that's a big, big, big bail.
During his time of freedom, Glover was a busy man. He decided to make 2 visits to one of New South Wales' most notorious inmates at Lithgow Jail, Bilal Houchar. During the visits, Glover told Houchar he shot a West Sydney gangster's aunt and committed perjury while giving evidence in the $6 million armed robbery trial. Neither man realised that a police listening device, expertly hidden inside the jail's visiting area, recorded every word they said. A hidden camera also filmed the 2 men during the jail visits on February 24th and March 10th in 2013. This was the beginning of the end of Reynold Glover.
Again, do you know what I mean? It's just like bungle after bungle, and it's no disrespect. I just would have thought that these guys knew better being at that level. Like, it is a well-known fact that the police, the jail, everyone, prison staff, whatever, they put listening devices in visits, box visits, in contact visits. It's a well-known fact.
On March 4th, 2013, Glover took on a new apprentice, Omar Houchar, a relative of Bilal Houchar. They held up a cash-in-transit van outside Broadway Shopping Centre with 2 other men. However, Reynolds' first publicly recorded stint as an armed robbery teacher failed. The getaway driver, in a stolen Audi, recognised they had taken too long and the police would soon be arriving. He hit the horn as a signal for the men to flee. They left the scene empty-handed. During his years operating in the underworld, Glover had unsurprisingly made.
He's doing all this while he's on bail. So he's on bail for doing armed robberies, and then he's out there doing armed robberies again. Yeah, like, I can see why they call him the baddest man. Just no fear, doesn't care, just cash, cash, cash. Robbo, no cash.
Several enemies, one of whom was Sydney crime boss Bassem Hamzy. Bassem Hamzy's cousin, Bilal Hamzy, had stolen $5,000 from Glover's mother over a dispute between himself and Glover whilst Glover was in jail. For this, Reynold Glover swore revenge. 5 days after the armed robbery at Broadway Shopping Centre on March 9th, 2013, armed with a Glock pistol, Glover went to take his revenge. Glover found Bilal Hamzy's car outside a property in Auburn, a western suburb of Sydney. The property belonged to Maha Hamzy, Bilal Hamzi's aunt. After failing to lure Bilal Hamzi out of the property, Glover unloaded 31 shots at the front door. Glover would later tell a friend he didn't know who was on the other side of the door. He was after Bilal and didn't care if there was an army of gangsters on the other side. 8 of the bullets hit Maha Hamzi, fracturing her left tibia and right femur. She also...
Damn. Old lady got popped. That's crazy. And like he said, he didn't care if there was an army. He let 30-something shots off into that house. That's 216 clips for those who didn't know.
suffered bullet wounds to her pelvic region. Though badly wounded, she survived the attack. The next day, on March 10th, 2013, Glover visited Bilal Hauchar to tell him the news. Police listened to the recording of Glover's conversation with Bilal Hauchar in Lithgow jail on February 24th, and on March 10th, 2013, when Glover left the second jail visit with Hauchar, police were ready to strike. Heavily armed Tactical Operation Police arrested Glover at his mother's house at 10:05 p.m. on March 10th, 2013. A police search of his mother's home, where he was living at the time, uncovered the Glock pistol used to shoot Miss Hamzi. On October 28, 2014, a jury at the Sydney District Court found Glover guilty of shooting with intent to murder. A major piece of evidence in the case...
Supposed to get rid of them too. Like, if it's used, get rid of it. It's useless. The only good thing a used pistol or gun is after it's been used is a prison sentence.
Was the secret recordings made by the police in Lithgow jail in 2013, where Glover told inmate Bilal Hauchar he shot Miss Hamzi as revenge for Bilal Hamzi standing over his mother. Glover's run of good luck had run out. On May 15, 2015, Judge Penny Hock sentenced Glover to a maximum sentence of 21 years and 6 months, with a non-parole period of 16 years. On July 10, 2015, Glover was further sentenced for 4 years after being found guilty of threatening Mr. X. Glover lost his appeal against the conviction in the New South Wales Court of Criminal Appeal on March 31, 2017. As for Omar Hauchar, he got caught on 3 separate police listening devices, which recorded him admitting to the robberies outside Broadway Shopping Centre in 2013. Omar pleaded guilty and was sentenced to a maximum of 10 years in jail on February 13, 2018. The Broadway robbery marked Glover's final case before the courts. Glover's lawyer entered a guilty plea to the robbery on July 28, 2023. Glover is currently serving his time at Goulburn's Supermax prison. Glover's decade-long journey through the courts is set to reach a conclusion when his sentencing proceedings begin on November 3rd, 2023. I'll make sure to keep a close eye on the case. As always, if you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching.
Well, there you go, guys. Australia's baddest man, and probably labelled very rightly so. Like, just the pure disregard for just not caring, and just paid $700,000 to get out on bail and just continued to do hectic armor guard robberies. It's just bonkers and blown my mind. So, yeah, there you go. Reynold Glover, Australia's baddest man, and rightly so. That was actually crazy, blew my mind a little bit. But, yeah, if you guys have got anyone else you'd like me to do a reaction video on, let me know. As always, chuck it down there in the comment section of this video, and I'll do my utmost best to get around to it. If you've got any other videos that you'd like me to do in general, chuck it down there in the comment section of this video, and once again, I'll do my utmost best to get around to it. I have been the Chaos Chronicles. If you guys haven't already subscribed, jump down there, shoot me a subscription, smash that bell icon, and you'll never miss any of my clips. Don't do drugs and crime and you won't end up in prison. Yeah.
Chaos Chronicles, where the darkness